What's up, chat? Happy Hump Day Wednesday. We are live talking tonight's 10-game slate. Fanduel, DraftKings, Yahoo PrizePicks, wherever you play, we play, we play together. I'm Gun, and I'm joined by Hoodie Raj, the red one out of the. Had to dust
Back
that
in the
one
building.
off. What's up, Raj?
Back in the building. Another day, another grind. Ready to try to break 100K.
Just like Barry Bonds, Raj is not in the Hall of Fame.
Barry Bonds, the GOAT of GOATs, deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. David Ortiz got caught using steroids and still got in. A-Rod, get him in there. Clemens, get him in there. Kurt Schilling is still not allowed to be in there because he's just a shitty human being.
Joel Embiid dropped 73.5 fantasy points last night, 42 real points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 blocks. My man is putting up MVP-esque numbers. He led the slate by the hook over just
Jokic.
James Harden. Harden, 73 fantasy points. Jokic, 71 and a quarter. Cade Cunningham, a nice 69 fantasy points, 40 minutes, at 34, 8 and 8, hit 6 threes. And here is probably, I want to say the shock of the night, because anytime he goes off, it's not a shock, but one of the more fun stat lines of the night. 40 real points for Anthony Edwards, 9 rebounds, 0 assists. It's like Kobe Bryant said, why am I pass it to you? You know what I'm saying? Why you taking all them shots? Well, I'm gonna pass it to you. I'll take it. You ain't gonna make it. Huge game out of Anthony Edwards if you had that. LeBron James, Tobias Harris, Pascal Siakam, and then Luke Kennard, man. The Clippers were part of some nonsensory. I don't know if you caught
that. That was all timer. That fourth quarter, the way they came back after down 30, that's an all timer.
It was. You know how a team gets smoked in the first half, and then we've seen Popovich, we've seen people just, you know what? If you guys ain't gonna fight, I'm gonna put people in. The Clippers, Chad, if you didn't, they were down 25 or so at half.
We're down 35 or something.
Yeah, something like that. They were down, and they're like, all right, well, hey, Ivica Zubac, Reggie Jackson, Nick Batum,
my props.
You guys ain't it. You're done. You're effing done. Not only did they get benched, like they didn't play at all again the rest of the game. At halftime, they said, So second half, they start Terrence Mann, Amir Coffey, Eric Bledsoe, Luke Kennard, Isaiah Hartenstein, and on the back of Luke Kennard and the gang, they come back and beat the Wizards by 1. What an incredible story for them. But yeah, how about that? So Luke Kennard was a guy part of the comeback here. 25 real points, 8 boards, 6 assists. I don't know if there's going to be more developments from the Clippers after that. Did we go back to the normal lineup today? Marcus Morris is out. NAW. So anyway, we knew that the Pelicans were essentially all going to be out. And then we got the Raptors ruling out Fred VanVleet and Scotty Barnes. So this created one of the easiest lineups to land on FanDuel, and there was a lot of holding hands. And it's incredible that we spent hours researching a 9-game slate yesterday just for like the most owned lineup on the site to be a pretty solid lineup. Just because pricing was that busted after the news. Hopefully tonight we don't get to that levels of bustedness. But I thought that was a annoying part of last night's sweat, but we were able to overcome some of that annoyance with PrizePicks and whatnot. But crazy night, man, crazy night. Chat, how did you guys do? Shout out to all you guys in chat already grinding with me. A lot of you guys were just in the PrizePicks stream as well. You guys are crushing it on that front. The PrizePicks streams and content have been doing well. We are at almost 80 subscribers on the channel. So it's been 2 days since we hit 6K. So we literally have a chance to get to 6,100 subs today. Like that is literally not out of the realm of possibility. So I cannot thank you guys enough for like your engagement with the channel. Helps stir our notability in the algorithm. Skimmer in the chat, JNY, Justin Brooks, Scott Duran, Crispy. What up, Crispy? Nova Scotia. Theme song to my life. What up, Dave King, Keith Gordon, Dom Davis says, yo, I know you just touched last stream, but PJ against the Knicks isn't dropping 7, so that's a lock. You want the PJ Tucker under real points? I can get with that. That's not crazy. What up, Obi-Wan? So what's good, fellas? Gun, Danny, Raj, Josh plays DFS. Shout out to all you guys. King Conte, hoping for some Raj Giannis hot takes again.
Giannis hot take today. Who's going against Cleveland? Ooh, tough matchup.
Evan
Tough
Mobley.
matchup.
Evan
Yep.
Mobley, bro.
Tough matchup.
Yo, I talked to a young gun in the Discord, Jax. I was like, yo, Jax. He's always trying to pitch in. I was like, I need a video editor. I need a lot of things. I need a social media manager. I need a video editor. I need all this crap that I don't pay attention to. But there's some Raj moments that get lost in time. And there's a lot more. I feel like there's more hot takes that I've forgotten than remember from you.
I think there's a lot more hot takes that I get right that Gun likes to forget.
Possibly, like really, honestly, possibly. But I would love to start, like, I don't know, documenting these in like the YouTube Shorts format or something like that.
Yeah, we need some of these hot takes on the shorts. I like that.
Crispy says put up 358 fantasy points last night with 14 from Simple Temple. Oh, those were the hot. Raj was on like the worst Pelicans plays yesterday. By the way, he was like Garrett
for the
Temple,
record, all chat guns like, oh, Hernan Gomez 4,700. It's not it. Nope. He goes off, and then when he goes off, it's like, nope. I did not say that.
First of all, I had a literal 100% of Hernan Gomez.
Yeah, in Fanduel.
Yeah, and I think you have to realize this now. I'm mostly a FanDuel player for NBA. I'll run a couple lineups here and there on DK, but FanDuel's been my bread and butter. So, at 5K, even if he was 5K, now, like, I don't necessarily thought that was like the best price in the history of pricing. He crushed it for sure. But he was a much easier play at bare bones min price in the forward spot. So I don't know. That's a weird one for you. Herbert Jones did all right, but 31 on that slate was
he just got there. Yeah.
And then Hayes not starting. Maybe helped him out a little bit, but I wasn't really there on Hayes. I had Anthony Edwards, Cade, Harden, Crazy Night, profitable on FanDuel. That's attaboy, Team Underground. Man, you guys crushed it. That's what I like to see.
A lot of blowouts too. Like Halliburton got killed because they got run off the court.
Bro, that was beyond a blowout. That was just disgusting. They needed to bench him.
Like DeJounte Murray, he just made his prop with a discount because he only got 4 minutes.
So somebody left a comment on a video yesterday and it was like, your Derek White call was terrible. Stick to favorites. And I was like, what?
I mean, Derek White did fine for the minute.
I was like, did you just learn what the NBA is? Like, Derek White played like 20 minutes because his team smoked the Rockets. Like, what are you supposed to do? But the Dallas Mavericks got blown out. That was a weird one in itself because we were on Kristaps Porzingis over 7.5 rebounds in the Discord. We were collectively sweating it because shout out to Josh. I don't know if he's got his receipts still up, but he's been killing the props, by the way, and he likes to track it. Full transparency. But we did a couple streams yesterday where Porzingis over 7.5 rebounds was one of our favorite looks. And in the third quarter, there was a weird play where he and Josh Green, I think, went up for like a board and like Porzingis had a hand on it or whatever, but they scored it to Green as a putback. But for a second in time, they had credited Porzingis for 8 rebounds, and this is the end of the third quarter. So we hit it. Let's go, 8 rebounds because Luka. We were sweating Luka's free throws too at 5. Get the over on that. So all we needed was Porzingis 8 rebounds, and the night like we're out here just partying, right? So he, for a moment in time, he has 8, and then they adjust the score, and he goes back to 7. We're like, whatever. He's starting the fourth quarter. What are you gonna do? He'll get it. And then in the fourth quarter, there's like this passive-aggressive kick of the basketball, and it goes into the stands, and he gets tossed. So I joked about it on the PrizePicks show, and I say it on Twitter. The double zeros, right? That was a double zero, right? Blowouts, injuries, and weird ejections. Double zeros. What can you do? So I'm gonna grade that one as a bad beat. Unfortunate. I don't think he would have had a whole lot time left in that game because of the scoreboard. But yeah, tough night to lose Hardaway to a fracture, and Porzingis to a early fourth quarter ejection. So, oof, what are you gonna do? You gotta laugh. You gotta laugh.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have a lot of games to talk about tonight, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. This stream is brought to you by RunDFS.com. If you guys want to get access to the spreadsheet we'll be referencing throughout the duration of the stream, if you want to jump in at RunDFS.com VIP Discord, the pre-log voice chats, the projections, my player pool, all that good stuff. Go to RunDFS.com, get yourself VIP membership. Every membership comes with a voucher towards Fantasy Cruncher that you can apply instantly to a subscription of your choice on their site. And if you have Fantasy Cruncher questions, how to process your player pool, whatever, you can ask me in the Discord and I'll show you how I do it. And we can make a little money. Before we get into the game-by-game analysis and breakdowns and hot takes, I do want to open up underdog__NBA on Twitter. If you guys aren't following fans, great work. You should be. Makes tracking the news every night so much more easy than it would be without him. And every day at 3 p.m. he drops a key news to watch tweet. Giannis Antetokounmpo probable, Fred VanVleet questionable, De'Aaron Fox questionable, Jared Allen questionable, Gordon Hayward questionable, Scotty Barnes questionable, DeAndre Hunter questionable, Will Barton questionable. Will Barton was literally listed as probable yesterday morning, and then he was ruled out, and that was annoying and weird. Just wanted to put that out there. And that's it. I think that's all the big news that we got. We know Metu, I think Metu got ruled out a minute ago too. I think. Don't quote me on that. Yeah, don't quote me on that. But we'll go through game by game here and go a little bit deeper on each team situation when it comes to news. Let me make sure that the screen's a little off center. There we go. Let's chop it up. Game number 1 tonight, the Milwaukee Bucks at the Cleveland Cavaliers. Project starting 5 for the Bucks. Drew Holiday, maybe Dante DiVincenzo, maybe Pat Connaughton. A couple of conflicting reports there. What we do know is Grayson Allen will not play. Chris Middleton, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Bobby Portis taking on Darius Garland, Isaac Okoro, Dean Wade, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen. Jared Allen listed as questionable. We know Markkanen's going to be down for the count for a little bit, so that's 1 7-footer out of the lineup. And if for some reason Jared Allen doesn't go, that's another 7-footer out the lineup. So this notoriously big Cavs lineup does take a little bit of a hit here. But I'm going to go find the Cleveland injury news and notes, see if we can't narrow down a thought on Allen's status. He's dealing with an illness. He missed Monday's game against the Knicks and wasn't at practice facility on Tuesday. If he can't go, Ed Davis likely get another start. So I guess we won't know until we know. So if Jared Allen can't go, and it sounds like him not being at the facility yesterday at least leaves the door open for that to happen. What we saw in that last game was Kevin Love didn't necessarily play more minutes, but he did benefit from a usage standpoint. And then Ed Davis started. And then we also saw Rajon Rondo get involved in this team. You know, they went out there and traded for him. And I did say, I didn't expect them to trade for him and not use him. I thought that was a point of emphasis for them is to get Rondo involved. He was part of the closing squad, played 18 minutes, so maybe they're ramping him back up, and maybe, when Rubio and Sexton were good to go, maybe the plan in the future is to get Rondo mixed in with the starters a little bit more, and of course more minutes. So as it stands right now, though, a 218 total. The Cavs, typically one of the slower paced teams in all of basketball. The Milwaukee Bucks, more notorious for being fast paced. This year, their pace rating isn't as crazy as it has been in the past, but it's still good for top 6. So more implied possessions for the Cleveland Cavaliers. At the end of the PrizePicks stream, somebody did mention that Darius Garland's assist prop on PrizePicks is just 8, and he has smoked that number very, very consistently. So that might be a number I start with if you guys want to integrate some PrizePicks thoughts. Sign up using code GUNDACKER. They'll double your first deposit up to $100. But Garland on the season, we use the on-off court tool without Sexton and without Ricky Rubio, has led the team and just about everything you can think of, usage and assist percentage. And then maybe we'll take off marketing here a little bit, but Garland has a 27.7% usage rate, a 44% assist rate in just a split without Sexton and Rubio. And if we stretch a little bit more, taking off Laurie marketing, the assist rate and the usage rate pretty much stayed the same. So maybe not so much for a DFS lineup at 8,600 on FanDuel, 9,400 on DK. I'm still getting a solid number on FanDuel at 8,600, but Garland's assist prop on PrizePicks just might be low enough for me to gravitate towards. Generally though, Raj, big slate, 10 games. Is there much on the Bucks side that you want to attack? Giannis Antetokounmpo always has the ability to be the slate leading fantasy scorer, but he's sharing a slate with James Harden, who has no Kyrie, no Kevin Durant, Nikola Jokic, who's an animal. I've got him about 5-6 points less than Jokic and Harden right now. I think Evan Mobley is an elite defender. Probably got his hands full today, so I don't want to write off Giannis, but it feels like pre-flop that money. If I'm putting that money into somebody, I'm probably going to get more Jokic and Harden. Are you getting too much of this game, or are you good with fading it?
So obviously Cleveland's been elite defensively with Mobley and Allen, kind of monitoring the paint there. They've been able to hold teams to very minimal points there. So it's not a game you love to target, but anytime you give Giannis, 35, 37 minutes in a competitive game, I think he can get you 60 to 70 fantasy points. So I do expect this to be a competitive game. I think Cleveland and Milwaukee, should be a 4-quarter game. All their starters should see minutes. And at 11-8, I still think he's fine to play. I think Jared Allen news will be big. Cleveland's defense takes a bit of a step back when Jared Allen doesn't play, and they have more Kevin Love and Mobley combination at the 4 and the 5. Or at Davis. So got to wait on his news. If he's out, I probably like Milwaukee more, and I don't mind bringing it back with some Kevin Love again at 6K. I think he'll be a core piece. Last game got you 43 fantasy points in 24 minutes against the Knicks in a really low-scoring game. I expect this to be a much higher-scoring game than the Knicks game. So Kevin Love at 6K, I'd like if Jared Allen sits. Mobley, he's at 8K now. A bit of a tough price tag to play. He's playing 38 minutes every game. But at 8K, he hasn't flashed. He'll get you the 35 to 40, but he hasn't flashed that 50-point upside in a while, so that's a little worrisome. But other than that, on the Cleveland side, with those two, Garland's intriguing at 9,400, but with this side of the slate and other guys priced at 9K, I'll probably stay away from him. And on Milwaukee, it's just Giannis for me, and probably no Drew Holiday or Middleton.
Kevin Love 6K on DraftKings. He's 57 on FanDuel. I don't think we're getting a ton of meat left on the bone. He does have 40 fantasy point potential, and dropping 40 against the Knicks, a slowest paced team in the league, and now you're kind of upgrading the pace here. Maybe putting more pressure on mid and long range shooting, going from a game where you score less than 100, maybe this game you get to 105, 110 if things got really crazy. Where would you be at on 6K Kevin Love on DraftKings? Again, thinking about what else is on the slate. 2011 and 24 minutes is pretty incredible. Every single one of Shot's field goal attempts last game were behind the arc, and we say it like it's part of the gospel. If you want to pick on the Bucks, the path of least resistance and most success is via the 3-ball. They allow the second most threes per game in the league, while allowing a bottom 5 amount of points in the paint. So that's Kevin Love territory. And if I can remember back, I feel like I was watching maybe the Hawks game against the Bucks not too long ago, and John Collins kept pulling up from downtown. So maybe a 3-point shooting big is kind of a secret sauce to get behind the Bucks. Would you maybe guess a couple extra minutes for Love? But even if we just got 25, the usage in that 25 is pretty doggone high. Truthfully, honestly, how much Kevin Love at 6K could you see yourself getting to? And I'm going to assume that it's completely contingent on Jared Allen being out, right?
Yeah, so if Jared Allen's out, I'll probably get to around 20 to 25%. Like I said, last game he played 24 minutes. I think that's like his floor. I think it's the Knicks, maybe with the bigger lineup. They threw Ed Davis out there. Dean Wade got a ton of minutes. Actually, Kevin Love in this spot against Giannis and Bobby Portis, maybe see a few extra minutes. I think he's fine guarding Bobby Portis. So if he sees 28 minutes in a great game 30, I think he'd be absolute lock without Allen. But if Allen plays, yeah, probably no Kevin Love for me.
2 games against the Bucks this season, 21 minutes a game, 29 fantasy points. So right there on the nose. Like I said, I don't think I'd give him a great deal here, but yeah, I think we could justify it. Get caught up on chat here before we move on to the next game. Chris Smith says $2,700 last night. 2 4-pick power play, 1 taco ticket, 1 4-pick power play with 2 pushes. Hey, attaboy, Chris, my boy, Fish fan. He has a saying that I've stolen. I'm sure you guys have heard it. You can't go broke making a profit. Take that profit. You know what I mean? Take that profit. What up, Valdo? What up, Andrew? Thoughts on paying up for guards and down up for forwards on FanDuel? Definitely a viable option here. I think paying up for James Harden is going to be a pretty common approach. So I think that'll make a lot of parity in lineups. Maybe some Harden Jokic handcuffs, especially on FanDuel. What up, Josh? What up, C-Wiz? Everyone hates Chris. Good to see you. Good to see you, boys. Tomorrow's just a 2-game slate, though. So I speculated, that I might even take the day off tomorrow and maybe trade it. So 10 games tonight. Get all the action you can get, right? Tomorrow, spend today. Pacers hosting the Hornets. Here we go. Project starting 5 for the Hornets. LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward, Miles Bridges, Mason Plumlee taking on Karis LeVert, Chris Duarte, Justin Holiday, Torrey Craig, Goga Batadze, Gordon Hayward, questionable, has missed the last 2 games with, I think, like an ankle or something. And, he has some injury history in years past and otherwise fully healthy Hornets team. So I don't want to, get inside the coach's head and speculate. But I feel like I wouldn't push Hayward unless I was pretty confident that he was good. Does have some ties to Indiana. We said that earlier. But on the Pacer side, there's a lot more outs to already have concrete information and usage guesstimates. Domantas Sabonis listed as out. Malcolm Brogdon, TJ McConnell, Miles Turner out. Of course, TJ Warren still out. So this is Karis LeVert and the replacements. We got 228 total. Somehow the Pacers are just 2-point dogs here, and I guess to their credit, last night we saw the Raptors take it to the Hornets without several of their starters. If you guys have seen any of my content, you could probably hit play on what I'm about to say. Hornets, one of the fastest teams, one of the worst defenses. You put it together, and the opposing teams have more implied possessions and more implied fantasy points per possession, just because of the matchup. So, starting with the Pacers, I was on Karis LeVert for some PrizePicks props. From a DFS standpoint, right around 8K. I'm still believing that a 50 fantasy point range of outcome is in the cards. I don't think I'm getting a major discount on his price point, and I'm not pushing his minute projection to anything astronomical. So I'm going to not get irresponsible with my exposure to him, but I still think that anyone against the Charlotte Hornets for over 30 minutes with a 30% usage rate has got to be in play. So I'm going to be actively seeking to get Karis LeVert exposure into my lineups tonight. And then elsewhere on the Pacers, Goga Batadze. Me and Luke just discussed Batadze's last game. He was in pretty significant foul trouble. So much so that they actually benched him the second half, meaning like he didn't start the second half. He had 5 fouls, and I think it was something that he had like 3. He had 2 fouls right away, 3 fouls. He picked up his third pretty quick in the second quarter. So they ended up bringing him off the bench in the second half, but he still played a decent stretch of minutes in the fourth quarter. So I would have to guess that if he stays out of foul trouble, he probably gets closer to what we had seen him play in the 2 games prior, right? High 20s, 30 minutes. But in 2 of the 3 games that we've dealt with Goga, we've seen him get benched for foul trouble and then ejected for headbutt. So he's got some built-in volatility that is unlike any other player in this sample size. But I do think anybody, again, with a shot at 30 minutes against the Charlotte Hornets, especially in the front court, picking up all those peripherals, definitely in play here. Did you have any strong leans on the Pacers? I feel like after LeVert, gets a little bit more towards a guessing game. And because of the last couple games, we've seen some price increases. 6,600, almost 7K for Chris Duarte, 5+K for Justin Holiday. Never feels good. For me, I was just leaning Levert, Goga. Maybe I'll grab a tad bit of Duarte if I'm getting to 100 lineups, 150 lineups. What's your favorite standouts from this game? And then lead me to what you might do with the Hornets.
Yes, Indiana, I think Karis LeVert, tier 1 play, lock and load, probably want 40% core guy for me. It's the Hornets. You play everyone against the Hornets. You mentioned Goga. I actually like his price uptake at 6,500. I think that keeps his ownership down. If he was like 4K, he would be 70% owned. But at 6,500, I think people will, they have to take a double take, and they might not want to lock him in. But again, it's the Hornets. We've seen centers just destroy them all year, mediocre centers. I think Goga has 40 to 45 point upside here, so I'll take him at 6,500. I think a third guy, I think either a Duarte, even a value guy like Washington, can definitely get you there. Duarte at 6,600. More of a tough price tag. He would have to get you close to 25 real life points, which again is possible against the Hornets. But then a guy like Washington at 3,100, saw 23 minutes last game. If he shot 7 for 12 from 3. If he keeps that hot shooting going, I think at 3,100 he can be a nice low value play. A lot of peripherals just come to these players playing against the Hornets, whether it's rebounds, blocks, steals. So I like a lot of these Indiana guys. And the Charlotte side, I think I'm gonna have to wait for some Gordon Hayward news. He's questionable again. If he's out, I think a guy like Miles Bridges at 8-2. He's definitely intriguing here. Has a couple down games back to back against Atlanta and Toronto. Breaks Indiana. I think he can get back and give you a 50-point game there. LaMelo's 8-1. We were paying 10K for him for a while. Terry Rozier has taken some of his playmaking duties. His assist numbers have jumped up. So I think that's what's brought LaMelo down. But I think he has 50 to 60 point upside in every matchup. You give him 35 minutes in this match against Indiana. He dropped 50. He's averaging 57 in 3 games against him this year. So at 8,100, I think he's a real great tournament play. Terry Rozier at 7,900. If Gordon Hayward is out, I think he's viable. Not a comfortable click, especially at that price. But I think he's definitely not out of the pool. And PJ Washington, he's probably going to be popular at 4,700. Got ejected last game, so I guess he's well rested. Could see 30 minutes here. So I mean, he's interesting if he sees 30 minutes here.
Yeah. This month, Rozier has a 22.6% usage rate, 23% assist rate, while LaMelo Ball still has a 28% usage rate and a 30% assist rate. And I think we're seeing a little bit of discount all across the board on LaMelo Ball. By the way, Anthony Taylor, appreciate that sub. That's an incredible name, by the way.
Anthony Taylor.
37.5 fantasy points on PrizePicks for LaMelo Ball. That is much lower than my projection, almost a 10-point difference. And like I said, I get it. LaMelo Ball hasn't been as consistent as he was earlier this season. I think we got that carousel of usage. Terry Rozier, big game. Gordon Hayward, big game. Miles Bridges, big game. Kelly Oubre, big game. It's all there to make him a little more volatile than we would like him to be, but the price point is getting pretty doggone low for his upside, for his potential, if Gordon Hayward can't play. I'm back on that. And the other thing I wanted to mention, since we're mentioning PrizePicks a little bit more, Terry Rozier, his assist prop, We've as a group been betting it at 3.5, and then it's gone to 4.5. It's at 5. That's still a number that he is smoking. So I'm fine with going back to Terry Rozier's assist prop, and then, like you said, if Hayward can't go, it just becomes that much stronger. But 5 assists is something that he has cleared. In all, it's huge. So I like that number quite a bit for Rozier. Lot to like here. If Gordon Hayward is in, it makes the waters a little bit more murky. You mentioned PJ Washington got ejected last night. McDaniels has been out. If Hayward is out, McDaniels is out. It's already a path to more minutes for Cody Martin. But PJ Washington was somebody that we saw some sharper cats in our community had interest in, and against the Pacers, like you said, a little bit fresher legs than some of his teammates. There's a path to minutes here if he can stay in the game. So I don't mind getting to some PJ Washington. Yesterday he represented just 3.5 minutes, so could back up immediately for the bigs in the front court. You know, guys like Mason Plumlee, who had to play 32 minutes, that I don't know would be there if PJ got his full run. So a couple of fun clicks here. Let's get caught up on chat before we move on to the next one. Robert says Lonzo Ball's best game is versus Indiana. Dean says some incredibly racist stuff about you if you want to check that out. No, I'm just kidding. That wasn't racist. He said he said you look like Russell Wilson, you know? And then wait, stop. I know. Let me answer this one for you. Hey, I mean, shout out Sierra, you know. that was gonna be his 100%.
God knows me. He knows me.
I'm telling you, bro. Anytime you try to insult Ross, he's just gonna shout out the best thing about whatever you.
Yeah, I get it, Sierra. I ain't waiting till no marriage. We getting it on. Hey,
Seawiz says Book Knight. Anyone? So did Book Knight benefit from this ejection? It looks like 28 minutes of play last night. PJ Washington. I mean, I don't know. That felt like that's not something I have in the cards here. But if Gordon Hayward was out, I probably could justify it. But I think on a 10-game slate, I don't think I make that risk here. I think it does look like it was a little bit of a benefit of no Hayward and a lot of bit of benefit of maybe no PJ, and they stretched out a little bit more.
I mean, yeah, for him to be a comfortable book, like you need a couple guys out, like LaMelo and Rozier.
Yeah. Forgot the sunburnt part. I didn't forget it. I didn't forget it. You 18, don't even start capping on you on the air, bro. I'll put you on blast. But I'll wait till we get 200 in the chat. Then I'll start roasting you. So usually what I do with the Hornets when they're fully healthy is I put them all at tier 3. And then I make a player group on Fantasy Cruncher and say I don't want more than 2 of these 4. LaMelo Ball, Rozier, Hayward, Miles Bridges have been kind of that 4 just because they all have the tendency to cannibalize each other. But we've seen so many games where one guy or 2 guys spike. And that's probably what I do again here today. But if Gordon Hayward doesn't play, I might relax that rule just a little bit. Let's move on to the next game here. Clippers at the Magic. We talked about the Clippers game yesterday where they overcame the odds against the Washington Wizards, benched half of the starters at half, and then Luke Kennard, Isaiah Hartenstein, and the like brought them back in it. This is an ugly game. We got projected starting 5, Reggie Jackson, Amir Coffey, like the drink, Terrence Mann, Nick Batum, Ivica Zubac, taking on Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, Franz Wagner, Wendell Carter Jr., and Mo Bamba. He's got hoes calling. Laker fan, appreciate that sub. 213.5 star total. We know Paul George is out. He might be done for the year. Marcus Morris was ruled out again today, so might give us another start for Terrence Mann at under 4K on DraftKings. And on the Magic side, we know MCW, Fultz, Hampton, Isaac, Etwan Moore, all those guys are out. Nobody that we have fringe here. So we get essentially a full strength Magic team for whatever that's worth. Quotations. I can't stop. Oh God. Cole Anthony's usage rate does take a little bit of a hit here in this split here, but I do want to get official numbers on it because there hasn't been a long stretch lately of a fully healthy Magic team. But I at least want to display Cole Anthony's impact with Jalen Suggs on the court from the Department of Redundancy Department. Cole Anthony without Jalen Suggs has a 25.5% usage rate, 29% assist rate. And then Cole Anthony with Jalen Suggs, number goes to, drum roll, Cole Anthony goes down to a 23%, while Suggs is at 28%. The assist rate stays about the same. And then, of course, throwing Mo Bamba and Wendell Carter Jr., Franz Wagner in the mix. It's one of those spots where every one of these guys feel like good fantasy plays, but the team sucks so bad that we end up getting a higher failure rate than we want to. But there are some significant price changes between FanDuel and DraftKings that's at least worth entertaining. The Magic, for instance, Cole Anthony's just 5,300 on Fanduel, while he's 6,700 on DraftKings. So a $1,400 discrepancy. And he's certainly somebody that can pay off that 53. Kind of feels like yesterday when Tyrese Maxey was a similar price, didn't get there. But Cole Anthony has 40, 50 fantasy point potential. A lot of that is immediately correlated with an absence of another high usage starter. What do you do with this game? Mo Bamba also feels underpriced on both sides, 56, 54. We've seen big games out of him. You wonder about how many minutes you might actually get from Bamba. I got him for about 25, and per minute, he has the ability to be above a point per minute and sometimes even greater, dropping 30 real points on Joel Embiid's head. Do you have any strong leans from this game? Because after watching what the Clippers did at halftime yesterday, knowing that could go any which way, I don't know how the morale of Reggie and how they're taking that, and then the Orlando Magic being literally one of the league's worst offenses with and without health. They have a bottom 3 offensive efficiency. Feels like on a 10-game slate, do I really want to try and connect some dots here and try to identify guys that might be okay plays at their prices? I guess the question is, do you think anyone can break the slate at their price point here? My projection, like Franz Wagner, right? 5,200 on DraftKings. I'm getting over 30 fantasy point projection, but I'm not like running to click any of these cats. Wendell Carter almost 7K. Feels like there's pivots at all these price points. And Magic would seem like only mass entry clicks for me. Do you agree or disagree with that?
Yeah, I think I want to wait to see the Clippers starting lineup here. I wouldn't be surprised if Ty Lue gave some of these guys an opportunity to start after that big comeback. Yet some of these bench guys. So Reggie Jackson, Zubac, maybe they don't start. Maybe they give some of these bench guys opportunities. So I'm going to wait for that starting lineup and make my decision on the Clippers. On the Orlando side, Cole Anthony's pretty cheap at 6,700. I mean, he was 8,500 at the time. So I think there's some room there, if this game stays competitive close. Jalen Suggs seems like he's been picking it up lately, getting a lot of peripherals, a lot of assists. Past 3 games, 35, 46, 37 fantasy points, 5, 9, 7 assists, getting you 15, 22, 14 points. So at 5,800, I could see him doing this thing and getting value at that price. You mentioned Wagner. These guys are just all priced at a point where there's upside of all of them on Wagner, Cole Anthony, Suggs. Even Wendell Carter at 68, I think there's a little bit of meat on the bone there. So yeah, I think if you fall into them, I think it's fine. I'm not going to, core them, but you have $5,200 left for a small forward and you end up on Wagner. I don't think that's ever a bad thing.
No Marcus Morris, so I think Terrence Mann and Luke Kennard deserve looks in deep field, really small field tournaments, especially for Terrence Mann. Mann was not part of the bench squad yesterday. Started and stuck around the second half to get you enough of everything. Peripherals, we know he's a stat stuffer, and got you 16 points to boot. I think 3,700 is a little too cheap for Terrence Mann against a bad defense like the Orlando Magic. And then Luke Kennard, definitely a little bit more volatile because a lot of his big games are immediately correlated with a lot of real points. But he did get 8 rebounds yesterday and 6 assists. If they business as usual the lineup, I'm okay with getting to some Kennard, but I think we would just have to really appreciate that the scoring dependency is pretty high for him to be a great tournament play. So give me a little bit of Kennard, but I'm in on Terrence Mann. I think Terrence Mann, honestly, 3,700. I haven't looked at ownership projections, but that feels like something that might pick up steam just because, like, by accident, right? He's gonna be chalked by accident, huh? Let's get caught up on chat before we move on. Dan Leesmo says Luke Kennard's carrying his contract for once. That's what they paid him for that game yesterday. Somebody was like, yeah. Obi-Wan says shout out to Raj for shout outs for shouting out.
Yeah, it's always shout outs are always nice.
They are. Shout outs. Arizona Drama says, heck is salty about those Mavs. Luka got the 25 points, would have won 7K if they won that game. Oh, felt bad for THA, though. Game shifted a lot when it went down. Yeah, it is kind of just like a palpable change in tension when, one of your friends, your cohorts, your teammates gets injured in a big way. But also, like, the Warriors were due to not look like complete bums. I didn't expect them to drop 130 with as good of a defensive front that the Mavs have been putting up. I also didn't expect Nemanja Bjelica to be like the second best play or the second most fantasy points on the Warriors. And who was it? Was it Ben Snapping? Are you out there? My man tweeted at me last night, and he was like, it ultimately ended up with me saying I wouldn't play Bjelica. So good on me for putting it out there. I think it was like I got Otto Porter, Kuminga, Juan Toscano Anderson probably getting more minutes than Bjelica. And sure enough, Bjelica dropped the second highest score in the game. So, or at least on the Warriors side. So move on to the next game. Kings at the Hawks. Project 25 for the Kings. De'Aaron Fox, maybe. Tyrese Halliburton. Harrison Barnes. Marvin Bagley. Rashawn Holmes taking on Trae Young. Bogdan Bogdanovic. DeAndre Hunter. John Collins. And Clint Capella. We got a 231.5 total. 9.5 point spread for the home team Atlanta Hawks. Sacramento got tied to the I can't, never mind. They got whooped yesterday. We'll say that. Fox is questionable. He missed his last 2 games. Terrence Davis got ruled out, I think, before I went live. So I if Fox can't go, I guess we would imagine Buddy Hield fills in there. I think he started second half yesterday. But you might see some extra run for like a Davion Mitchell, something like that. Let's see if we can get caught up on some news on the Kings side. So for Sacramento, Fox, I don't think we have updated info, but Sacramento has Fox listed as questionable with an ankle. And then on the Atlanta Hawks side, Bogdanovic is questionable, and they said if he played, he'd likely be limited. So we might be able to, or he's probable now. Right, it's probable. They said he should be expected to be limited or unlimited minutes, something like that. 231 total with a 9-point spread. We are implying the Hawks to put up like 120 fantasy points or give or take. When the Hawks do that, I feel like we immediately have to look at Trae Young as a team leader in usage, real points per game, and assists per game. Is a guy that can drop 30 and 10 in his sleep. I put him on the cover because it's interesting. The Kings coming off absolutely getting slaughtered yesterday. But maybe the team metrics can paint a picture to keep them a little bit more competitive in this game. The Atlanta Hawks boast a bottom 4 defensive efficiency, while the Boston Celtics boast a top 7. So the defense, the defense becomes a little bit easier. Offensively, though, we know Sacramento struggles. But I guess what's your read on this game? And Trae Young, does he get absolutely lost in the shadows of the James Hardens and let's go home?
I mean, I think
hold on. Let's go home. We're damn right.
Shout out Jalen Carter music on Instagram. Dyke.
I think he was trying to make the bot say an alternate to the word penis. I don't know.
Okay. Shout out, damn. Hey, Jalen Carter music. Check it out. Spotify, YouTube. You guys know what it is. New music coming soon.
But anyway, Trae Young. So he's on a slate that involves James Harden. So I can see him just getting lost in the shadows here. James Harden. He's a little bit cheaper, but I think when you consider his
And Jokic.
his floor to ceiling. His ceiling definitely competitive with everyone, right? 60, 70 fantasy points is definitely not outside the realm of possibility here, and we've seen him drop as much as 68 in his last 3 games. The floor is a little bit lower, and we expect Harden to be rock solid for 50 and then go from there. But is there any like tournament viability in your thought process today of getting some Trae Young exposure? Maybe 9,500 on FanDuel becomes a stronger consideration. But he's $1,000 cheaper than Harden today on DraftKings. Definitely has a chip in a chair to be up there. I got him for 50 DK right now. That's bringing him inside the top 7 of my DraftKings projected scorers behind John Morant, Luka, and Harden. So that's 3 point guards above him. But he's cheaper than 3 of them. What's your thoughts on Trae Young today? And then what do you do with this game? The Kings being one of the worst defenses in all of basketball, giving up the most points in the paint.
Yeah, so if Fox is out again, he's questionable. I'm just going to lock in Halliburton coming off of a game they got run out the court. I expect him to be back. I think the 50-point spot for him, 20 and 10. And if people want to stay away from him because of that down game, I'd love to see it. So 7,500, he'd be a tier 1 for me, right up there with Karis LeVert. Other than that, I think guys like Buddy Hield at 6,400 is intriguing. If he starts. If he's coming off the bench, I don't like it as much. I don't know. The Kings just don't really like him, it seems like. They'd rather start Terrence Davis, which he's out today.
Yes, but that's not entirely true, though, because Terrence Davis got injured yesterday, and he's out today. And then the second half, Buddy Hield was part of the starting unit outside the game.
Yeah, Buddy Hield starts then. I think I like him at 6,400. I think he gets Atlanta, plenty of room for upside there, so I like that. On the Atlanta side, you mentioned Trae Young. Giannis 1,000 more on DK. You have Harden 1,000 more. Jokic couple thousand more. I'm probably just going to pay the extra for those guys. I do think it's interesting, like you said, Sacramento bottom 5 defense. Could be a spot where you get you 55, 60 fantasy points upside game at 10-4. So I wouldn't fade it, but I'm still I'm going to have more of Harden, Jokic, and Giannis. Yeah, that's what it is. Sometimes, like yesterday, chalk went off. Sometimes you guys got to play the chalk and just find 1 or 2 guys to get different. Other than Trae Young on the Atlanta side, I think a guy like Capella at 7,100 is going to go overlooked. Hasn't had a big game in a while. Past 3 games, 26, 14, 22 fantasy points. Good matchup too against Charlotte. That was a blowout. Gets Atlanta, competitive game. I think he could touch 40, maybe 45 fantasy points at 7-1, which I'll take all day. So I think he's interesting in tournaments.
Yeah. Fox news would definitely shift a lot. If Fox were to be out, I do wonder where the Tyrese Halliburton ownership goes, because he wasn't owned at all yesterday, obviously because the lineups built themselves with studs and scrubs. But again, with so much upside at point guard today, buyer's remorse after yesterday for those that did play him, and then the Atlanta Hawks being as porous of a matchup as they are, especially against guards. Halliburton has a real chance for 50-plus fantasy points. So I do like a lot of those spins here. So hopefully we get this Fox news with a decent chunk of time. And I'm kind of with you on being flirtatious with John Collins and Clint Capella. I do think the way my lineups are being constructed right now, Jokic is just taking a lot. So I don't know if I get to that mid range quite a bit, but I do think when you consider the block potential and the fact that the Kings do hemorrhage fantasy real points to points in the paint, Clint Capella is going to dunk, and when he's done dunking, he's going to dunk some more.
I think I also like in the same price DeJounte Murray and Ja Morant more than Trae Young. We'll get there, but they're essentially the same price, and I'll probably lean them more so too.
No. What up, Big Bino? Says, what's good, gang? Trey dropping 70 with 4 steals today.
Hello.
Let's go.
You want to take a little bet? DeJounte versus Trae?
You talking to me?
Tony, yeah. I was going to see I'm Tony guy on chat. You want to hop in?
Talking to me? Maybe. I haven't looked at the DeJounte situation yet, but like that was weird for you to like shoot that bullet at me. What?
Yeah, I was like, okay, he's reading off the chat about the 70 break. I was strong.
No. New York Knicks at the Miami Heat. Next game on the docket. Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson. Taking on Gabe Vincent, Duncan Robinson, Jimmy G. Buckets, PJ Tucker, and Bam Adebayo. 202.5 total, 5.5 point spread in favor of the Miami Heat. So normally, 10-game slate, you get 2 of the slow. I think these are the 2 slowest paced teams, actually. Knicks are definitely the slowest. Miami's the 3rd slowest. You get 2 of the bottom 3 slowest teams in all of basketball with a 202 total. Usually it's an X, right? It's an X. But Jimmy Butler without Kyle Lowry still has some merit. Now, I do think Adebayo being involved, Tyler Hero being back, I could take the top off a lot of expectations. I could definitely lower the floor a little bit. But Jimmy Butler's on a 9K on both sides. We expect him to at least be involved. Little Tom Thibodeau narrative if you're into that. Let's go pull up Miami Heat here, and I just want to see if we get our usage check on usage check, not to be confused with Kyle Juszczyk, right, from the playoff team 49ers. You may have heard of them. They don't have a quarterback. Jimmy Butler, Adebayo. Shout out to Shady if he's out there. I can't wait to talk trash to Shady when Odell Beckham drops 4 touchdowns. Let's take Kyle Lowry off the court, Adebayo on the court, and then let's elongate the sample size to the beginning of this season. See what we're dealing with, and then if we don't like what we're dealing with, we can go a little bit deeper. But 23.6% usage rate for Jimmy with Adebayo on, with Lowry off the court, but a 33.6% assist rate and well over a fantasy point per minute. So, like, he's in the conversation of somebody that could have a obvious double-double at 10 p.m. Or a triple-double at 10 p.m. tonight when we're looking back at it. But like I said, nothing else is supporting this game. In terms of tournament winning upside, because of what else is on the slate, because of the 10-game slate, because of the two of the bottom 3 slowest teams. Are you touching this game? Are you gonna let Jimmy be, or do you want to get a share or two?
I'm against the Knicks. Slow game, 202 total. Tyler Hero back. Bam is back too from his injury. I'm just not running to him. He's similarly priced to Karis LeVert. I think I'm okay just completely kind of writing off this game. 10-game slate, not going to play everyone. No Jimmy G for me today.
Let's go home. Let's go home.
Whoa, motorboat, lurl.
I guess, is that the noise you make when you... I don't know.
He doesn't love a good motorboat.
Ross, what's the noise you... Hey, shout out to motorboats, you know what I mean?
Shout out to them
big old biddies. Shout out. Like, what do you mean? I can't.
How'd that make? I mean, that's for a different type of stream.
Can't do it. We're a family-friendly DFS stream. God dang it.
Raptor. I mean, most of them were probably made before, motorboat before the insertion. It's usually how it works.
That's a weird word in context. Insertion?
I don't know what else to say. Well, before motorboat, then you work your way down and do what you gotta do.
Chat, I mute. He can't hear me. I'm just gonna sit in silence, see how awkward it gets. Is that it?
I don't know what to tell. I'm trying to figure it out too. I don't know. Damn right, he'd hit me with the motorboat. Bringing back memories.
Toronto Raptors taking on the Chicago Bulls. Project starting 5 for the Raptors, potentially, maybe. Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby, Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam. Taking on Ayo Dosunmu, Zach LaVine, Javonte Green, DeMar DeRozan, and Nikola Vucevic. We got a 219 total, 4-point spread in favor of the home team Chicago Bulls. Raptors, night 2 of a back-to-back. Last night were without Fred VanVleet and without Scotty Barnes. VanVleet dealing with knee soreness. That happens when you play 40 minutes a game. And Scotty Barnes had a jacked-up wrist. So we'll see if they can go today. We were pretty good about getting that news yesterday. This game is an hour after main slate lock, so maybe we have to run a little bit good just to have that news before main slate locks, because that would shift a lot of interest for Anunoby, Gary Trent, but probably most importantly, Pascal Siakam, under 9K on both sites. I think Siakam's worth a click or two as is, right? 40 minutes of potential play against the Chicago Bulls front court, which has definitely been the better path of success in terms of fantasy points. But the Siakam usage goes through the roof. VanVleet and Scotty Barnes will both sit here. So, and then on top of that, we know that the Raptors keep such a tight rotation that it just makes everyone in play. We pull up the Raptors minutes report from last night. They started Precious Achiuwa, Gary Trent Jr., Chris Boucher, Anunoby, and Siakam at the 3. Just incredible lineup. And then we saw some minutes from Malachi Flynn, Utah Watanabe, and then garbage minutes from Justin Chimpagna. I think he got ejected. So maybe their rotation was going to be a little deeper, and then Banton also was involved. So yeah, hopefully we get that news. On the Bulls side, they just reintroduced Zach LaVine into the lineup. Thought he might be limited in that initial game against the Thunder, but went out there and played 35 minutes, so kind of picking up where he left off. So without Lonzo Ball, without Alex Caruso, Zach LaVine, DeRozan, Vucevic are the big three for the Bulls. You might expect them to cannibalize each other in terms of fantasy viability, but on every site, they kind of have individual justification to get behind. LaVine being 7,500 on FanDuel is a travesty. It's an injustice, and I won't stand for this. I think I have to get to him by default, and especially if we might get a little bit more ball handling duties. I know DeSumner's done a pretty good job at picking up that slack as well. But LaVine at 7,500, there's just so much opportunity at that price point. And then DeRozan, maybe his price point on DraftKings feels a little bit better going against this old team, looking for 40 plus. And then Vucevic played through a Q tag against the Thunder. We'll see if he can keep that trend going. Do you have any standout thoughts from this game? I feel like a lot of our stone cold Raptors takes are going to be pretty contingent on the availability of Van Vliet and Scotty Barnes, so it becomes a little bit speculatory. But there's a lot of implied minutes to be had. So what do you think you might end up doing? And then give me a couple scenarios that that might lean you one way or the other.
Yeah, with the Raptors, I mean, if Barnes and Van Vliet are out, I think I just go right back to Gary Trent, OG, and Siakam, the big three for the Raptors against the Chicago team that, without Caruso, without Lonzo Ball, it's a bottom 10 defense. So I think this will be, a high-scoring game with LaVine and DeRozan being able to keep the Bulls close and with Vucevic there. So give me those three Raptors. And the Chicago side, if I'm playing those three Raptors, I'll probably bring it back with LaVine at 8,300, and there's plenty of meat on the bone there. Even with DeRozan back and Vooch there, I think it's fine at 83. DeRozan not at 82. That's still, I might just play both of them together. I mean, yeah, 16,500 for both, and if they both get you 50, I think you're cool with that. 100 fantasy points.
The Raj catchphrase. Yeah, you can give me 50. Give me some of that. But yeah, no, DeRozan and LaVine on the season, when they were playing alongside each other, both guys averaging like 25 points a game there. So I don't know. I guess we'll take off Lonzo. We'll take off Caruso. I do think that'll boost LaVine's potential playmaking, and DeRozan can do it himself. But official numbers on the year: DeRozan, LaVine on, Lonzo, Caruso off. Not really adjusting for Vucevic. Maybe we'll do it as well, but 27% usage rates for LaVine and DeRozan coexisting with each other. DeRozan actually has the better assist number, almost 29%, and over 1.2 fantasy point per minute on both sites. Let's add Vooch in the mix just to see what happens. Vooch, he spent 10 racks on a new chain. I don't know if you knew that. Gucci gang. Yeah, it's the bit.
I hate that guy.
Treyway?
No, the artist. It wasn't Treyway who did that.
What's that kid? Was it Lil Pump?
Yeah, that
Lil
kid.
Pump. Whatever happened to him?
I mean, he had his hit, and I'm sure he has a couple million just spending it away.
When you add Vooch into that mix, 22% usage rate, 1.5 fantasy point per minute on essentially both sites, and then DeRozan stays at 1.2, and LaVine actually drops closer to 1. So if you're to make that podium of sample size, not a ton of sample size, but Vucevic actually stands tall there. So something to keep an eye on. And then of course, if everything fell the right way for the Raptors to get minutes for Chris Boucher, he has one of the bigger discrepancies in pricing on FanDuel versus DK. Yesterday, he was kind of high owned just based on his price. He's under 6K on DraftKings while being over 7K on FanDuel. So something to think about as you build your lineups. Vooch under 9K on FanDuel as well. Again, center is going to be pretty top heavy, I think, from this far out, with Jokic being the apple of a lot of eyes. Let's move on to the next game here. Before we do that, take a peek at the chat. What up, Sen? Shout out to Sen. LaVine 7,500, cheap as hex is Arizona. Dom says kind of like Middleton for free throws today for props. To be honest, I'll get behind that. My boy Luke was on some Middleton point props. Maybe the rookie Evan Mobley gives Giannis a noogie. I want to, from a real life standpoint, I want to see that matchup play out, but we'll see. Speaking of seeing matchups play out, the Denver Nuggets at the Brooklyn Nets. Should be a fun game to target. Project starting five for the Nuggets: Monte Morris, Will Barton, Aaron Gordon, Jeff Green, and Nikola Jokic taking on James Harden, Patty Mills, DeAndre Bembry, Kessler Edwards, and Daron Sharp. 221.5 is our total. 2 point spread in favor of the visiting Denver Nuggets. Starting with the Nuggets side, Will Barton listed as questionable. Yesterday morning, he was listed as probable and then was midday slapped to out. He's dealing with a hamstring injury right now. If he can't go, you might see more minutes for like Austin Rivers, maybe Bryn Forbes, guys like that. What we saw in the rotation yesterday for the I'm blind. There it is. How's that the first one? That doesn't even make sense. What happened to chronological order? Yesterday we saw Austin Rivers start. So I didn't wake up today to play Austin Rivers, so I probably won't. But we know that only helps solidify Jokic's usage, and also will create some opportunity for a guy like Aaron Gordon and maybe Monte Morris. So that's all going to be like strictly contingent on Will Barton potentially being out. If Will Barton's in, he's under 6K. He's got a chip and share for 30 fantasy points. On the net side, James Harden doesn't have the benefit of playing with Kevin Durant, with Kyrie Irving today, and Nick Claxton, who played yesterday, will not play today, so a little bit shorter, which makes the Nets weaker in almost every facet that you can think of. But it increases and stabilizes all the uses for James Harden. He's only 10.2K on FanDuel. I currently have him as a top 2 scoring fantasy play on the slate, second to only Nikola Jokic on the other side of the court. So fun little run back options here. If you can get Jokic versus Harden, just sit back and enjoy the game. Makes a lot of sense. Raj, did you by chance see the double vantage view of LeBron doing the back-to-back breakaway dunks, and Harden was just like watching it, like just lazily just like watching it, like okay, now come back. No, like Harden like didn't care about defense. He didn't care about running down to block the shot or whatever. And it was back-to-back plays of just Harden looking so disinterested to even play defense.
He wants to leave. He's annoyed Kyrie isn't playing because of the vaccine. His workload is high right now.
Maybe, well, I don't know about that. Harden's never been a defensive guy, but it goes to kind of support what we talked about on yesterday's stream, or what I talked about, because you took a day off. It couldn't be me. The Nets, without Kevin Durant, have a defensive rating of 117, which, if you put that in context to the rest of the league right now, that would literally be the worst defense in basketball. And I was speculating that, maybe the Lakers could blow them out. Now, the Lakers didn't blow them out. I think they won by 10 plus. They covered. But that defense is just not good. And then, Nick Claxton, you remove him from the mix. This is a pretty susceptible lineup, all things considered. It's going to be offense or nothing. And it's James Harden for me. And then behind him, I thought it would be Patty Mills and LaMarcus Aldridge. And that's pretty much what we saw yesterday.
Patty Mills let me down. It feels terrible.
I mean, Patty Mills got there for the prize picks. I don't know what you on about.
Not fantasy points wise, but real life points.
I mean, that's all Patty Mills is good for, real life points. But if we look at what occurred yesterday for the Nets, boom, 96 real points by the Nets, by the way. James Harden 33 real points, Patty Mills 15, Bembry scored 12, Aldridge 9, and shot volume, Patty Mills was second in field goal attempts. So I expect more of the same. This is going to be a pretty top-heavy team. Kind of the same with the Nuggets. Past Jokic, you're not going to love a whole lot. Maybe this matchup invites more ability for Aaron Gordon to pay off his price point. Jeff Green, somebody like that. But I would need Barton to be out to feel great about that. So I'm pretty well set on Jokic and Harden here. But in the interest of adding some PrizePicks thoughts here, I think Patty Mills stayed at 14.5 shot attempts, or 14.5 real points. He barely hit that yesterday. Like we said, he's going to be second in shot volume for this team, so I don't mind going back to the well on that. And this total implies the Nets for more than 96 points, right? We're giving them almost 110 for math, almost 110 points. So you give them an extra, 14 points here. Patty Mills, I think, is somebody that has to play a part in that. So give me Patty Mills real point props, but give me some Harden versus Jokic. Harden on FanDuel. If I was making 50 lineups, there's a real chance that I just click that ye old lock button next to him. What are your leans on this game? And is Jokic versus Harden going to be one of the most prevalent correlations in your build tonight? And if you're running one lineup, are you doing everything you can in your power to get Jokic versus Harden, or is that a little too short-sighted?
Yeah, I mean, I think getting them together today is just going to be a lot tougher because there's so many of these guys in the 8K ranges, even the 6Ks and 9K in great spots. So playing them together probably is not going to be, the most optimal option today. And even play if they score 70, but guys like Karis LeVert at 86 or DeJounte Murray at 9 and John Morant. If John Morant and DeJounte get you 60 in the 9Ks and the guy like Karis LeVert get you 50, the 70 at 12 and 11-4, it won't be as needed. I think there's so many kind of studs today, a little cheaper with plenty of upside that you don't have to core a lot these guys in like yesterday where you just plug Jokic, Harden in, fill them up with the value. So not running to play the studs. They'll be in the pool, but maybe, again, it could be just 20% or tier 3 type plays for me. Probably not tier 1. I guess Patty Mills essentially, I think, had a floor game, like with no Kyrie Irving and no Kevin Durant expected more from him. So maybe today at 4,900, he can get you that 35 DKP, just have a bigger game, which I don't hate. Denver, if Will Barton plays at 5,700, I think he's intriguing. He'll be the number 2 behind Jokic in usage and getting buckets. So I think at 5,700, he can get you a 40 burger against this Brooklyn team, like you said, which is probably the worst defense in the league with the other injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and other than that, I'm not really looking at anyone else.
All right, that's fair. Hopefully we get that Barton news. Near the apple of my eye. Oh, 18, I'm taking, bro.
Cute.
My girl, she'll kill you. She'll find you. She will. Love Booker and Biombo tonight. I'm with that Arizona. Jeff Green revenge game season. Let's go. By the way, YTube 6969. Nice. Appreciate that sub, man. Welcome to the channel. He don't want to be there. He maybe don't. There's a lot of speculatory reports, but
Really?
Out of all the leagues that have BS reports, NBA is the worst. Like there was like a 5-year stretch where anyone ever was going to be traded to the Celtics. James Harden doesn't like living in Brooklyn, which I could believe that, but I take most of the NBA rumors for face value and just disregard it, right? I think if you win a ship, you win a chip, you win a chip. Dangley's Mo says, I was about to say there are plenty of places where you can find mothers looking for... Okay, buddy. What's up, Michael Durbin? What up, Jeremiah Johnson? You guys think LMA might start at center to try and match up with Joker? I don't think so. I think they would put Sharp out. With Claxton in the mix yesterday, they still put out Sharp. I mean, if they didn't start LMA to match up with Anthony Davis, why would they, you know what I mean? It seems like the move with LMA is they're keeping him as kind of that 6-man option. They're keeping him fresh for the second half. They're using him to close games, and letting Sharp open up for him. So I don't think so. Could it happen? Possibly, but I don't think it. I'm not expecting it. I feel like there was a name in chat a minute ago that I wanted to shout out, and I didn't see. I guess not. I thought I saw my old boy Shadow. Oh, there he is, Shadow Dog. Yo, what up, Shadow Dog? Oh, I haven't seen your name in a minute. Would be upset if I got paid millions to play basketball without my teammate. That would just be awful, God, I would probably have to use at least a couple thousand to cry some tears in. Harden needs to go to the 76ers with Embiid. That would be a ridiculous combo. I want to play Patty Mills, but he was awful last night, really. Patty Mills is extremely scoring dependent. If you guys wouldn't like to play Joe Harris at 5K, don't play Patty Mills. The pushback is Patty Mills has a real shot at 15 to 20 shot attempts. So if he gets 20 real points, he probably bleeds into being a solid play. But for me, my Patty Mills exposure tonight, action-wise, is going to be more so betting his point prop. Because even at 20 real points, it doesn't necessarily guarantee him to smack this price point, But he will chuck a ton of threes. I have 2 chats up, and one chat's going so much faster than the other one, and it doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. You know what doesn't make sense is that we have almost 200 of the realest OGs in all of YouTube DFS community. We only have 63 likes. Come on, man. Come on, man. Let's get 100 likes, chat. 100 likes. Let's do the like wave. And then while we're out there, 2 days ago we hit 6,000 subscribers. I don't know if this will show on thing. I think it's tough. If you could see it, it says 6,085. We have 85 subs since we hit 6,000 2 days ago. Could we hang our jersey in the rafters tonight and get to 6,100 within 2 days of hitting 6K? That would be literally a record on the channel. So if you're out there lurking and that red sub button's lit up and you're vibing with us, yeah, you have to turn noties on. Just hit that red sub button, man. Help us reach some goals here. Man, wouldn't it be crazy if we got to 6,100 today? That'd be nuts. Then we'd be pretty well on pace to get to maybe 10K this year and maybe 7K next month. So let's all hit goals and let's all be legends. Let's all be great. And let's get our jersey retired in the YouTube chat Hall of Fame. Unlike, not going to say it, Spurs hosting the Memphis Grizzlies. Project starting five for the Grizzlies: Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, Zaire Williams, Jaren Jackson Jr., Stone Cold Steven Adams. It's going to get you one board. What? Up against the Spurs. Spurs, night two of back-to-back, smoked the Rockets last night. Robbed us of some fourth quarter run. DeJounte Murray, Derek White, Dougie McBuckets, Keldon Johnson, and Jakob Poeltl. Am I not Poeltl enough for the Poeltl Club? 228.5 our total, 4.5 point spread. Favor the visiting Memphis Grizzlies. Desmond Bane, closer to in than out. He is definitely a shooter that Ja Morant has been missing. He's officially questionable, dealing with the COVID protocols. Says he reportedly cleared protocols, but there are seemingly still some concerns regarding his conditioning. And this was from a report dated yesterday. So hopefully we'll have more information on that. If he can't go, we still have Dylan Brooks out. And then if Bane can't go, we know Ja Morant will just pick up that much more usage. So doing a little bit of homework here. Let's pull on the Memphis Grizzlies and let's do Ja Morant on the court. Let's do Dylan Brooks off the court, and we'll leave everyone else on. Actually, let's put Bane off the court as well. Brooks and Bane off the court, Ja Morant on the court. We've got a 37% usage rate for Ja Morant. That's insane. A 37% assist rate, 1.4 to 1.3 fantasy points per minute. And then taking Bane from the off list to the on list, the usage rate goes from 37 to 33.6. So a little bit of a drop, and then 33.6% assist rate. So definitely a little bit of a drop, but not a ton. Still a 1.4 fantasy point per minute. So Ja Morant's in a really big spot. One of the things I thought was a little bit weird about this total was that the Memphis Grizzlies are really good defensively. I think Ja Morant's like clearly their worst defender, but I feel like individually, man, it's a really tight defense. So for them to be involved in such a high total, giving the Spurs a lot of credit offensively. And I know the Spurs did what they did yesterday, but the Rockets are not the Grizzlies. So I'm a little suspect and suspicious of the total, but there's a lot to like here. Ja Morant is coming in for me based on the total, based on the matchup, based on the usage rates. I'm getting a 56 fantasy point projection for Fanduel, 52 on DraftKings. In context of what's on the slate, that's coming in as a top 5 projection. And then we mentioned DeJounte Murray. I'm getting a little bit lower projection on DeJounte, but his defensive peripherals, the steals and blocks, definitely line up pretty well here. And no one's ever stunned these days if DeJounte contributes, 50, 60, 70 fantasy points. So Ja Morant versus DeJounte could be a fun lineup to make. We talked about making some Harden versus Jokic lineups. DeJounte and Ja Morant could be a lot of fun to watch, much less a lot of fun to sweat. What are your favorite plays from this one? Do you have anyone standing out past DeJounte and Ja Morant?
I mean, I think Desmond Bane being questionable, he's always intriguing. They're a little worried about his conditioning, but if he plays at 6,400, I think he can get you a 35, 40-point fantasy game against the Spurs team. So I think he's interesting. Other than that, other than Ja Morant on Memphis and Desmond Bane, I'm probably not playing. Jaren Jackson Jr., I guess, 6,600. He always can have a big game. Dropped 41 on him last time in 30 minutes. So if he sees 35 minutes, I think he has that 45-point upside at 6,600. And the Spurs side is DeJounte Murray, Derek White at 5,900. If it's, I don't know if both those guys hit their ceilings together. I think that's a little tough.
I don't think they need to. Look at these prices. Derek White's $6K. Like I'd take 30 from that on DraftKings. Obviously, Fanduel's a different story, but I think they coexist pretty commonly at these prices in a 230 total.
I mean, 30 is not going to win. Like you'll definitely need a 40 in tournaments, but
Right.
Jonathan Murray, I guess if they combine for 100 fantasy points, like that's what you'll need in tournaments. That's definitely possible. And then Jakob, I think he's definitely in play 6,200. You give him the minutes, he can get you big game, past few games, 50, 38, 37, 49, 37. So I think he's always in play too.
Yeah, Jakob Poeltl, big discrepancy in price points from FanDuel to DK. FanDuel $7,800, $1,600 cheaper on DK, and Jakob Poeltl actually averages almost 2 blocks per game. Memphis Grizzlies coming into this game, I think leading the league in blocks per game allowed. John Morant, he's reckless. He's coming to the rack. Sometimes he'll get swatted, and I don't mean Twitch streamers playing League of Legends. 6.4 blocks per game allowed so far. So Jakob Poeltl could pick up some defensive peripherals there. I don't like to pick on Steven Adams necessarily, but definitely some viability here. From a prize pick standpoint here, looking at John Morant numbers, because I have him projected so high, I said I had him at 56 FanDuel points, which is the same as Prize Picks. Prize Picks has him at 46. So I might be interested. There's a couple of guys tonight that I'm a 10-point projection over, and he's cleared 46, 3 straight for them. So yeah, I think I take some action on some John Morant numbers here. By the way, Chad, if you haven't gotten signed up for Prize Picks, what the F are you doing? We've been pumping out so much content lately for Prize Picks that you guys should have an easy learning curve. It's pretty simple. If you're already doing the research every day, you're already identifying the matchups, you should be able to abuse the prop lines that are out there. Prop lines, they're becoming better, but they're still a little bit more inefficient versus spreads and whatnot. And Prize Picks does a really great job of DFS world meeting the prop line world. So if you're in a state where you can't bet on sportsbooks yet, nice little stopgap here for Prize Picks to be a lot of fun to play. We've created a channel in our Discord. We've created spreadsheets to help you have a companion piece to select some props on Prize Picks to attack. And I've started throwing out a lot more Prize Picks content. I've been doing a Prize Picks stream before this stream every day. If you didn't know about that, it's been about a week now. Good numbers on that. And then typically every day we're gonna try and have a early prop hunt video, whether it be me, whether it be Luke, or if I start adding to the team with young gun content creators. So go check out Prize Picks, and if you sign up using code GUNDACKER, they're gonna double your first deposit up to $100. You can't beat that. $20 becomes $40. You can max it. $100 becomes $200. And there's several different ways to maximize your potential tonight. And I love the bigger slates, right? Bigger slates with a lot of news make DFS a little bit overwhelming at times. But bigger slates have been really fun for prop hunting because you don't have to worry about late swapping and utilizing those type of tools and knowing if the salaries are efficient halfway through a slate, stuff like that. You're just betting on the props. So simplified DFS if you need it. Add to your income. Diversify your daily spend. PrizePicks.com. Code GUNDACKER. Jeremiah Johnson says probably the wrong stream for this, but thoughts on Big Papi getting the Hall of Fame nod and Bonds getting snubbed. I don't think there's really a logistical reason for that to happen. A lot of Twitter is saying, basically putting Ortiz versus Bonds. It's like, why is this guy doesn't? I think I'm fine with Ortiz being it. I have a lot less requirements to appreciate somebody's lifelong body of work. And we've talked about this a few times in the Discord, where man, you put 20 years of your life, you spend half your life grinding a sport, then you spend 10, 20 years being good at that sport, being a good, providing entertainment. Like, I don't care. Get in there. Like, I don't care. There's a lot of people outside the Hall of Fame that I would vote in. And then there's people that hate on like basketball and football Hall of Fame being a little too easy to get into. I don't care. Let people get that lifetime achievement, man. We only get.
You can't just give it to everyone.
I don't care. I literally don't care. You're lucky to get. Stop.
Baseball,
you're lucky to get 70 to 90 years on this freaking rock,
Sure.
traveling, warp speed around the sun. Like, who cares? Acknowledge these people, man. Show them some love.
Yeah, so you get them. There's other ways to acknowledge them.
Stop.
You were a great player. It doesn't mean you're in the Hall of Fame.
No,
They all deserve the Hall of Fame.
This American Idol judgment, I don't care. Let them all in. I don't give a. Let them.
You're too much in that participation trophy.
That's not. I'm not saying. I'm not saying put anyone in. I'm just saying guys like Barry Bonds. This should be.
Of course, that's literally one of the, if not the greatest baseball player ever.
Right. Anyway,
of course.
Anyway, oh, derail it.
A guy like Jimmy Rollins. Yeah, I don't want to say, but a guy like Jimmy Rollins, questionable. A guy like obviously basketball. Like I don't know, who's a questionable basketball guy.
Can't cheat the game and get in. I mean, I understand like all the point of views here, but I don't.
I just think it's a part of baseball story. Like if it was just like one or two guys that did it, I understand cheaters get out. But it was like a whole generation of baseball athletes who take steroids. Like the point of a Hall of Fame is to tell the story of the sport. And during that time period, steroids were a part of the sport. And the guys, like now you just don't know. There's guys who were in who probably took it. So you can't. David Ortiz got caught taking it. He has a positive test, but like it was blurry, whatever.
All right, stop. This is the most. This horse has been beaten to death. There's nothing that we are gonna say, and the chat has already heard that. Like it's literally some old baseball writers making this. Like it's
the old guys in charge.
It's dumb. Mavericks at the Blazers. Next game on the docket. Project starting five for the Mavericks: Luka Doncic, Jalen Brunson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Kristaps Porzingis, Maxi Kleber taking on Anthony Simons, C.J. McCollum, Norman Powell, Robert Covington, Yusuf Nurkic. 216s are total, 4 points spread in favor of the visiting Dallas Mavericks. Mavericks Knights moving back to back. Got a little bit of a butt whooping last night against Golden State. They will be without Tim Hardaway Jr. for the near future. Last night, when Hardaway went down, I think Frank Ntilikina was the immediate beneficiary. So maybe we might expect a few more minutes for Ntilikina, maybe like a Trey Burke, something like that. But Ntilikina was. Second half, Ntilikina is the guy that came in. That might have been the Tim Hardaway rotation. So maybe expect him to be a short-term beneficiary, but it's also very murky waters because the fourth quarter was essentially all garbage time. So we might be doing a little bit guessing. If we're just looking for like a guy that can score, one, you just might get 40 minutes of Jalen Brunson. They seem to trust him a little bit more. But maybe a guy like Trey Burke. Ntilikina is not somebody I like offensively a ton anyway. So keep an eye on that situation. Minute-wise, though, Luka Doncic 36 minutes is my early projection here. We talk about guys getting lost in the sauce, lost in the shuffle, going against this Blazers team that is also shorthanded. I think Luka Doncic certainly has a case to be a top 3, top 4 scorer on the slate. He could be a top 1. I've got him 4th right now behind Giannis, Harden, and Jokic. And standard deviation, he's got a 6-point median difference between Jokic in first, 5 between Harden in second. So if you do that plus minus 6, there's always an outcome where Jokic outscore or Luka outscores one of those two guys. So I don't mind getting to some Luka tonight. Obviously, I feel better with some of those early guys, but Luka's in a good spot here. Porzingis is on a back-to-back. There's nothing out there really suggesting that we might expect him to sit, but I think he's one of those guys we just categorically keep in mind for potential rest on back-to-backs. He last played a back-to-back on, it's been a while, the 7th and 8th of December. So I guess the him potentially resting is a live thought. So maybe keep an eye on that. If he can't go, you probably see Kleber, Dwight Powell, maybe Dorian Finney-Smith stretch out, Reggie Bullock, something like that. But maybe we don't have that news this far out. I don't think I'm going to get to Porzingis anyway. Maybe his individual props might be a little bit more intriguing. And on the Blazer side, CJ McCollum, Anthony Simons, last night they kind of ate into each other, but McCollum still has a 30+% usage rate. I think the Blazers at their prices, even McCollum, who like, I love the idea of him, but I end up not getting to him. I still respect the Dallas Mavericks defense. I think yesterday a little bit more of an Amalek outcome. I'm more interested in the other game that's at this time slot. But did you have any short thoughts on Blazers and Mavericks? You think you're getting too much of this game, if any?
I mean, with Nasir Little, I think he's being ruled out. Robert Covington out. I think it's a lot of usage left for guys like CJ McCollum. I mean, if Damian Lillard got ruled out right now and all those guys, he'd probably be the lock of the slate at 7,300. Coming back from injury, he just hasn't been smashing as you'd like with guys out. Simons is clearly taking a bigger role in the offense, doing his thing. I think I think CJ McCollum at 7,300, he has 50-point upside, so I can't just write him off. I think he definitely has to be in the pool. You mentioned Dallas being an elite defense. Sure, no, for sure. With Porzingis back to their defense, definitely better. But with all these injuries, I think McCollum's usage rate could be pushing close to 30%, 25 to 30. Same with Simons too at 7K. So Simons, McCollum, even Powell, I think he's interesting too. With no Covington, no Little, he's gonna have to do more. Nurkic at 7,700. I'm gonna have a little bit of all these guys. Again, not coring any of them, but with all the injuries they have, I just think you want pieces of all of them. And the Dallas side, I think I'm going to go back to Porzingis at 7,600. I think he has some upside there.
So I mean, if there's no verbiage, nothing saying Porzingis is out, like are you taking? I don't know why. I don't trust it. I don't trust it. It is a back-to-back, and he hasn't played a back-to-back since the beginning of last month. So, like, it's possible for him to do it, but we've seen, like, Mike Conley as well. He's played a couple back-to-backs, but not all of them. Same with Spencer Dinwiddie. So I'm a little bit pessimistic, I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, if Porzingis is out, I guess Luke at 11-1. I mean, him versus Harden is a very interesting 1v1.
Yeah. CJ McCollum with Anthony Simons on the court, and we'll take off Lillard just to give us a little bit of sample size on the minute count here. McCollum's holding a 27% usage rate. Anthony Simons 22.9%. McCollum only a little over a fantasy point per minute. Norman Powell being potentially involved here, also something that takes a little bit of a hit. I don't know that I feel like at 79 on FanDuel, 73 on DK. That's not that far from like Karis LeVert, who I've against the Hornets. I just like go that way. Obviously, it's not 1-to-1, but I don't know. I think I could see myself not touching the Blazers here. Robert Covington rolled out a couple minutes ago. Maybe we fill in the gaps here with a couple punts, but I think the Mavericks just profile so strong defensively. They would take a hit if Porzingis is out, but I don't think we have that information this far out. And like I said, nothing's really supporting him possibly being out other than just long way speculation. Let me get caught up on chat before we move on to the next one. Bro, they put sports writers in the Hall of Fame, but not the people that actually played the sport. Yeah, it's a broken process. Doug Geely says, what I took away from this is I want to get drunk and talk about life, the universe, and everything with Gunn. Fun fact, I've never gotten drunk before, so I don't know that I would be a good conversation in that. How about Babe Ruth breaking records for? Okay, stop it. This is such a it's one of those weird topics that everyone has the same opinion on. And it's just like, how does this even happen?
Right. Yeah, the people who don't see it are the people who are in charge. It's just so weird.
Yeah. DSA question for Portland. Yeah, Portland could be really, really skeleton crew. Feels like a situation they could rest CJ. Yeah, this game could be really weird. I always want to see Bond's price tag on DraftKings during that time. That would have been nuts. Bond's obviously Mike Trout, like perennial leads every slate 5 to 6K on DraftKings. It wouldn't stun me if Bonds got to like 7K, 8K, mid-tier pitching areas. Gonna always win sometimes. Guys, we got one game left on the docket. Really good pacing. I'm proud. If you guys want to hang out with me after the party, it's the after party. And after that party, it's the Discord lobby. And you guys can get access to the Discord with a membership at rundfs.com. When you do sign up, whether it be week pass, 2 week pass, there's only two. Is it 2 or 3? I think it was 3 yesterday. It might be 2 now. Whatever it is, there's only a few of the limited All-Star passes left. $329 gets you locked in till July 20th. The presumed MLB All-Star game, which is the MLB All-Star break, so you get the first half of the baseball season. Those talks are looking more encouraging, right? They're meeting more and more, so I'm happy about that because I got to have my baseball. But if you guys want access to the Discord, be part of the pre-lock chat, get access to the spreadsheet, my projections, my player pool, and of course my prize picks selections as well. And Josh, I don't know if Josh is covering today. He might be, but Josh has been grinding and tracking his stuff. This is from yesterday. All of Josh's favorite picks kind of ranked out. Porzingis, we talked about the bad beat with the late ejection. Christian Wood got blown out. DeJounte Murray on the right side of a blowout. Harden didn't hit his 2.5 threes, but man, look at all this green here versus the red. So shout out to Josh grinding some of these player props. But all that is behind the paywall at rundfs.com. Good way to support the stream, keep the free content out there, but also get in the community that is full of all walks of life, all ages, all bankroll levels. Literally got millionaires. Our boy Raj, everybody out there, good vibes to always be placing. He's going to be at the live final this weekend in Arizona. He is taking down 2 million makers, and he has a shot to win another million this weekend with the championship game. So I'll be rooting for him. I'll be in contact, hopefully, keeping him up to date on any bits of information that slate might present. So, but we also got people grinding the quarter arcades, grinding single entry, stuff like that. So go be part of that before lock today, right here in the NBA voice chat. We'll be there, and you guys can join us. Main event tonight: the Phoenix Suns at the Utah Jazz. Project starting five for the Suns: Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, Cameron Johnson, Bismack Biyombo, the Big Mac Bimbo taking on Mike Conley, Jordan Clarkson, Bojan Bogdanovic, Royce O'Neal, and Hassan Whiteside. We've got a lot to catch up on with these two teams. First of all, on the Suns side, DeAndre Ayton, Jay Crowder out. We already had Kaminsky. He's been out. JaVale McGee out. That's a new one. Nader, Cameron Payne is out. This is going to be a couple games for him. Sarge is still out. And then on the Utah Jazz side, we got Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell both listed as out. So both these teams just played, but they didn't. Utah Jazz punted that game. The Suns are giving us potential 30-plus minutes pre-flop of Bismack Biyombo. We've been playing him in the circle anyway because he's been out-minuting and pretty much out-producing JaVale McGee, 28-plus minutes in 3 games straight. At 5,500, he looks like a real solid shot at 30-plus fantasy points. He's not facing Gobert defense, but rather the more susceptible Sun Whiteside defense. So I do like the thought of Bismack Biyombo. It might open up Jalen Smith, who we saw get part of some action earlier this season where he had started some games, might get to 25-plus minutes because of no Crowder, no McGee, guys like that. He's pretty cheap on both sides. Probably will project it decently as a value play. And then Chris Paul, Devin Booker. Chris Paul, I think he's very, very noteworthy because a couple games back, Cameron Payne got injured mid-game. Was it against the Mavericks? Cameron Payne played. Was it against the Mavericks? Or was it against the Pacers? Cameron Payne played. It was against the Pacers. 6 minutes against the Pacers, got injured. And we didn't immediately see all of his opportunity go to Landry Shamet or Alfred Payton. Alfred Payton just 6 minutes that game. Chris Paul played 40 minutes that game. And then curtain called against the Utah Jazz with another 40-minute performance. So is it reasonable on short sample size to suspect that Chris Paul could be in line for high 30 minutes without Cameron Payne in the near future? Yeah, and we already know his usage and his ability to facilitate is at an all-time great levels of high. So without Ayton, makes a lot of sense to like a lot of this game. Staying on the Suns for a second, just to get you guys official numbers. Not only does Chris Paul project well, but Devin Booker projects extremely well. He's a guy that sustains an over 30% usage rate in the split without Ayton on the court. So if you guys are looking for some hammers, you want the hammer, then go on, get the hammer. Paul and Devin Booker project like great plays. Both guys over $1.25 when it comes to fantasy points per minute. Booker 32.5% usage rate. Chris Paul 40% assist rate. Positively correlated on PrizePicks, maybe an assist prop, a real points prop, something like that. So give me those two. And then on the other side, the Utah Jazz, no Mitchell, no Gobert. That's representing 20 plus real points on the Mitchell side, and Gobert could be 10 and 10, 15, 15, 20, 20 in some instances, and it also dramatically weakens their front court. So when we put Conley on the court for that split without Mitchell, without Gobert, Conley's going to grab a hold of just a 16%. Is that right? Wow. While Clarkson has a 37% use rate. Not a ton of minutes here. I also want to make note that Bojan Bogdanovic, who is not listed on the injury report right now, was out that last game with a busted a finger. It says an avulsion fracture in his left ring finger. So I think this is a weird Google, but Bojan Bogdanovic, right-handed. I'm assuming he's right-handed. I guess they would mention if that's a shooting hand, but having a busted finger maybe makes his equilibrium when it comes to shot attempts a little bit off center, and then maybe Mike Conley benefits from that. And then Jordan Clarkson, price discrepancy of the century, 5,600 on FanDuel, while being 7,400 on DraftKings. We're talking almost a $2,000 difference. So Jordan Clarkson has a real chance to be tier 1 for me on FanDuel. And then I don't even know if I get to him on DraftKings. That's how drastic of a difference in price that is. So, Rod's a lot to like here, a lot to be suspicious about. But for a late night hammer game, especially a Utah game, we've definitely seen worse. I like loading up on a lot of this game to drive home some lineups tonight. What are you thinking?
Thinking Devin Booker, Chris Paul broke the slate last time. We all expected them to blow out Utah's close game. Now Utah gets guys back, expecting a close game again, but they got a price bump. So Chris Paul at 9K, I think I really like his assist prop on PrizePicks. I'll take 2 over 10. Dropped 60 on him last time. I think he has similar upside here. Could be just as high as every game. So give me that at 9K. Booker at 9.7. Just the price makes it really tough. I think he's a fine play. It's just he's gonna have to outscore, a Ja Morant or DeJounte Murray, and I'll probably have him third between those 3 guys at that price tag. I love Biyombo. He might be a tier 1 for me. No McGee this time. No Ayton. No Kaminsky. It's gonna be the Biyombo show. 31 minutes last game. He might see a little bump, maybe 35 this game with no McGee. Could be, same thing. 13 rebounds, 15 points. If he can get you a couple blocks and steals, even better. So I really like him. On the Utah side, I don't think I like anyone on the Utah side. It could just be a full faith for me on the Utah side.
Yeah, you're crazy, bro. Too crazy, man.
Jordan Clarkson at 7,400. I'm not gonna do that.
Right, I keep forgetting that you play the weirder side and the good side. You know what I'm saying?
Like Whiteside is 6,600. I'm not gonna get there. Joe Ingles is 5K, but Donovan is 6,900. It's just the price that makes it tough. Like, sure, Mike Conley can get there, but even then, I don't think he smashed his 7,200. I think he'll get you 30.
Maybe the DK pricing is enough pushback, but we're implying the Jazz for over 110 points, right? 110 plus. I think it's far fetched to think no one gets there, but I can understand the resistance on the DK pricing. I think Whiteside over Biyombo. Like Biyombo feels a lot, more fun to click lately. But I have Whiteside projected to eclipse Biyombo in several categories, but especially fantasy points. I have Whiteside as a shot at 50 FanDuel points, 44 DKP. And I know lately it hasn't been consistent, but we saw this stretch earlier in the year when Whiteside was a complete and utter chalk for a couple games, and then people finally got off of him, and he dropped 51 fantasy points. He just dropped 51 2 games ago. He has slate breaking potential at 6,600. So I would not ignore Whiteside here. This is a different Suns look than what we're privy to without Ayton, without Jay Crowder. Definitely takes a step backwards defensively. So don't sleep on Whiteside at 6,600. And FanDuel 55 is even juicier. Cameron Johnson 4,300 on DraftKings as well without Jay Crowder. He has a chip in a chair for high 30s minutes and 30 plus fantasy points. I like this game. I guess as a more FanDuel centric guy, there's a lot more to like price wise, but I like this game no matter what. And for, like I said, for a late night hammer game, I think there's a lot to grab from this game and start driving home. So chat, what do you guys like from this game? What do you like from this slate? We got a couple minutes to tackle some questions, comments, concerns. If you have any prize picks call outs, throw them at me as well. Brooklyn Silver says, didn't Porzingis get ejected? I don't think he played his full minutes. He got ejected in the fourth quarter while the game was almost over. But yeah, no one played full minutes yesterday, but he got ejected in the fourth quarter. Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame. Yup. MLB Royd era. Yeah. There's still a lot of performance enhancing stuff out there, but I don't want to get Rod started because I ain't got time for that.
Barry Bonds the GOAT.
That's a weird way to pronounce Derek Jeter.
The most overrated baseball player, maybe in the history of sports.
Bam!
Overrated.
Bam! Get muted. Yo, we gotta hit him with the around the horn mute. This guy. Yeah. Okay.
He's literally.
Let it go. God dang it! I gotta wrap up. Chat. I don't know what we're gonna do in terms of content tomorrow. Just a 2-game slate, but we'll be back Friday. Friday's gonna be all hands on deck. So the schedule on Friday is looking like expect a Luke video Friday morning. First look at PrizePicks, a PrizePicks live stream. Friday afternoon at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central. The DFS stream Friday afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. Saturday morning, I think I'll do the Osmo show in the morning with EMAC, and then Saturday afternoon I'll probably do a PrizePicks live stream potentially with Luke. We'll see about that. And then the Royal Rumble's on Saturday is what I told. So I might do some Royal Rumble squares Saturday. Maybe tomorrow I'll compensate for lack of NBA content with a NFL-based video. Maybe I can get Luke on a stream for that and do some PrizePicks calls for that as well. And then Monday, we're back at it with more content for PrizePicks. I think I'm doing a morning. I think Coach. We had Coach on the other day. I think I'm gonna jump on one of his shows on his channel. So I'll keep you guys updated on that on YouTube. There's a lot coming up. As far as subs, where do we get on the subs today? We got all the way up to 6088, so 12 away from 6100. That's huge. Where we at on likes? 92. I know you guys got 100 likes in you. I just know it. Jeter versus A-Rod. Not doing it. We're not doing it. Raj, are you gonna...
Everyone knows A-Rod is better than Jeter.
He's literally not. Stop it. Stop it.
For a guy that considers himself an analytics baseball expert.
Yeah. Well, you know,
A-Rod.
I'll take 20 years of 300 baseball.
Yeah,
Raj, are you gonna be here Friday?
I'm gonna have to go to the office tomorrow for sure. I'm not sure about Friday.
Yeah, probably not doing a show tomorrow. Anyway, I'm going to the Discord chat. Jump in there, VIP@rundfs.com. I appreciate you guys making part of my day, be part of your day. Hope you crush it tonight, and I hope you win way more money while Rogers loses all of his first ridiculous takes while he's motorboating.
Over to ask myself.
Good luck. God bless. Go win some money.
We'll be right back.